It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to the Fayette County School System and to this electronic onboarding session. You have been selected to join one of the finest school systems in the state of Georgia, and we are very happy to have you as part of the Fayette County School System family. Our track record of returning employees validates the quality of our school system. Each school year, approximately 10% of new hires are returning employees who have worked for Fayette County Schools previously as an employee, as a substitute, or in an hourly capacity. In any industry, excellent service results in continued business and a returning customer. For us, excellent service results in a returning employee. We are very grateful to have you as a new employee. And for those of you returning to Fayette County Schools, welcome back home. When I started my teaching career, I knew teaching was a great profession. I knew there were many benefits to being a teacher, and most of them did not involve money. I didn't realize the long-term financial benefit of being a teacher. Keep in mind that if you retire after 30 years in TRS, you will receive 60% of your highest salary level for the rest of your life. You can't do that in most other professions. Your point of contact should always be at your work location. Most of you have worked in a school system before. If you have not worked for a school system before, you may have worked for a different company or business, and you know that leaders have different leadership styles. It is very important that you learn the leadership style of your principal or supervisor at your own work location. It is also important that you know what is going on at your work location. Sometimes employees will get information from other employees outside of their work locations, but that information may not be valid for you at your work location. Please develop a good working relationship with the administrative staff at your work location so you are comfortable asking them questions directly. Your principal's or supervisor's secretary is a great point of contact as well. HR actually offers training for them, so we can provide relevant information and they can pass that information along to you. Once your principal or designated representative from your work location contacts you regarding your new position, some of the discussion topics listed will more than likely be discussed with you. If they are not discussed, please feel free to ask questions about these topics or any other topics you may have questions about. All positions in our school system are associated with a calendar based on work days. We want you to be aware of the work calendar for your position so you know which days you should report to work and the days you should not report to work. Please note that not reporting to work because you thought it was a non-work day will not be an excused absence. You can always ask your principal's or supervisor's secretary for a copy of your work calendar, but we will discuss later where you can find a copy of the work calendars as well as other important information. Employee email is set up through your work location. If you do not receive your email login credentials within your first week of employment, please speak to your principal's or supervisor's secretary. It is very important that you get in the habit of checking your Fayette County Schools email on a regular basis. Sometimes it's easier to schedule certain times of the day to check your email to help you develop a routine of checking and responding to messages. Several times during the year, e-blasts are sent to employees with important information that sometimes contain time-sensitive information. We want to make sure you pay attention to important emails that may require you to take action. ID badges are sent directly to your work location shortly after you begin working. Once you receive your ID badge, you will notice that your employee ID number is listed on the back of the badge. Replacement ID badges are $1. All employees are required to view several HR training presentations and documents through Employee Self-Service, or ESS. Regardless of what position you hold in the school system, you are considered an educator because you are working with and around students. Therefore, you are required to abide by the Code of Ethics and acknowledge that you understand how you should conduct yourself as an educator. As you read through some of the cases in the Identifying and Reporting Educator Sexual Misconduct presentation, you will probably think to yourself, who in their right minds would do such things? Or, we're adults and we should know better. Believe it or not, the cases you will read about are real cases that occurred somewhere in Georgia. Therefore, all employees are required to acknowledge that we have viewed the material and understand our responsibility as educators. All employees will view the material at the beginning of each new school year. New hires hired after the beginning of the school year will be required to view this material within their first 2 weeks of employment. Another document you will view is the Electronic Employee Handbook. It is a good idea to download and save a copy of the Electronic Handbook because it is a good resource tool where you can find answers to your questions about policies or procedures. We will discuss later how to access the Employee Handbook on our school system's website. You will receive an email at the personal email address you provided, notifying you when you have documents waiting to be viewed in ESS. Once you receive the email, you will know that you are active in ESS and need to view and acknowledge all of the documents. Just about everyone today is connected to some sort of social media platform. Because you are beginning a new job, this would be a good time for you to review all of your social media accounts. Given today's world, it would not be surprising if concerned parents or citizens take the time to search the social media accounts of employees working with or around their children. We are not here to govern employees' lives. However, please remember that you are an educator and you represent not only yourself, but you are representing our school system, your work location, your principal or supervisor, and most importantly, your students. You certainly would not want anything posted on your social media accounts that could jeopardize your employment. The following suggestions are helpful tips to think about when reviewing your social media accounts. Set your social media account to the highest level of security. Review your social media account and remove any comments, posts, or photos that could negatively reflect upon your character. Do not make negative comments about the school system, your work location, or your coworkers. Do not accept friend requests from your students. You are here to serve as an educator and a role model to your students and not to be a friend. Never post information discussing your students or situations happening at your work location. A general rule of thumb is if the post, comment, or photo is questionable, it would be best to go ahead and remove it. As part of your onboarding forms, you signed a document stating that you have reviewed the Internet User Agreement Policy, and you will abide by the provisions outlined in the policy. Please remember that all of the electronic network resources you use in your position and any electronic devices issued to you are governed and owned by the Fayette County School System. They are not your personal devices and should be used for work-related purposes only. Any other use or misuse could result in disciplinary actions, including termination. This even includes your work email. Please use your Fayette County School System email account for work-related purposes only. Any personal business should be conducted from your personal email account. If you are searching for another job, please do not use your school system email as the contact email for a potential employer to correspond with you. The demographic information that you entered in the onboarding portal will be exported into the HR and payroll platform. It is very important that if anything changes from what you have provided, you notify HR by completing the personnel information change form. We will discuss later where you can find this form. There is a misconception that if an employee notifies their school of a change, then HR is notified also. But this is not the case. The demographic information that we enter into our HR platform interfaces with our payroll system, state health benefits system, and total rewards benefits. It is also listed on your W-2 forms. So it is very important that HR has your updated information at all times. It is a good idea to review your emergency contact information annually. In the event of an emergency, there may be a need to reach your emergency contact using the emergency contact information you have given to us. If the emergency contact information is out of date, we would not be able to successfully reach your emergency contact. Again, it is very important that you make sure you have updated information on file with HR at all times. Employees in a benefit-eligible position who do not live in the Fayette County School District are able to enroll their children in Fayette County schools. You must have legal guardianship of the child in order to apply. Please note that once you are no longer an employee of the Fayette County School System, your child or children will be withdrawn. You will receive a new hire newsletter after your fingerprinting appointment with information about how to apply for special permission. The intranet is a helpful resource to all employees. Once your email has been set up, you can access the intranet from any computer with an internet connection. All schools and departments have their own website pages as well. You can access the Fayette County Schools intranet from the FCBOE homepage. Please look at the red arrow in the top right corner pointing to the Employees Only link. Clicking on the Employees Only link takes you directly to the login for the intranet. Please remember that your Fayette County Schools email account must be set up before you can log into the school systems network and the Fayette County Schools intranet. Once logged into the intranet, you gain access to the internal pages that only employees can view. By clicking on the Staff tab, you will notice several helpful links that you can access. Please notice under the E section, you can access employee calendars, employee mail, and ESS, HR and payroll information. Remember that we mentioned these resources earlier. Also mentioned earlier, each department has its own pages on the website, and you can access them by clicking on the department's tab. We're going to direct your attention to the Human Resources site at this time. The column to the left shows all of the links you can access on the Human Resources site. I want to point out the link to eForms. This is a listing of all of the electronic forms accessible to employees. You can simply download and print the form, complete it, and return it to the appropriate Human Resources team member without having to leave your work location. Earlier, we discussed the personnel change form. that should be completed to change any of your personal information. The number of work days are often used when referring to employee groups. For example, employees who work year-round are referred to as 240-day employees. Our pay cycle runs from August to July for all non-240-day employees and from July to June for all 240-day employees. Non-240-day employees will be paid through July 31st for this school year. Certified employees must work through their last work day of their contract, and non-certified employees must work through the last day of their work calendar for their position. Employees who leave their positions prior to the last work day of their contract or work calendar for the position will not be paid through July. All employees are paid monthly on the last working day of the month. Just a reminder that the last working day in the month of December is normally before the semester break, so please keep this in mind when we approach that time. Salaries will be prorated for employees who do not start at the beginning of their work calendar. The finance department will send a salary notification sheet to you at your work location, so please be sure you know where your mailbox is located at your work site. The remaining slides are for employees who hold or will be issued educator certificates or paraprofessional licenses. Ms. Jennifer Battles is able to assist you with the process for requesting an upgrade or adding a field to your certificate. Always remember that certificate renewal requirements are based on your professional learning plan or goal that your principal or supervisor has in place for you. It is very important to engage in job-embedded professional learning at your work location. Ms. Battles will contact you before your certificate expires with instructions for the renewal process. Hopefully, each of you already has a MyPSC account, but I will give you some reminders about how to access it. It is very important that you have an account set up and know how to access it. The Professional Standards Commission has recently changed procedures and now will require each account holder to log into his or her account to process most transactions and requests. When you visit the MyPSC website at www.gapsc.com, you will see the MyPSC login or register link in the top right corner. If you have not already registered for a MyPSC account, this will be the first step to get you started with the registration process. The PSC has asked that all upgrade questions be directed to them. It is important to check upgrade options by clicking the Certificate Upgrades link before you start a certification program. Click the Certificate Upgrade Advisor link. Next, you will have an option to log in or browse. It is best to select the login option, so the PSC keeps a record of your upgrade request on your MyPSC account. In order to calculate your salary, we need a verification of professional employment form from each of your previous school systems. Please complete the top portion of the form and send it to each school system where you have worked. Once all completed verification of employment forms have been returned to you, send them along with the cover sheet that you received in your onboarding email to Jennifer Battles. Thank you for your attention to this onboarding session. Again, we want to welcome you to the Fayette County School System. We hope you have a great school year.